This is our 1986 U-Haul CT-13 called Bag End. I started working on this in 2021, and it's always a work in progress, but I just got done waxing it, and I thought I would make an updated video for everybody who's always wanting more information about her. So when I bought this, I was told that it was in excellent condition, and they're not very common, of course. So after driving across a state and a half, we got there to find it in pretty rough condition, with a giant rotten hole in the floor and rusted out frame and cracks all over the gel coat. So I've kind of gone back and forth on what I wanted to do with the outside. Over the years, considered painting it. Didn't want to have to repaint it every year. We have a sailboat and gel coat care experience, fortunately. So we've just been using Colonite Fleet Wax products on it, and that works really well. It lives underneath an awning here, so it's not out in the UV all the time, but I like to keep that old gel coat nice and lubed up, because it's a bit chalky when it's not polished up. I've used some Etsy decals to cover up the worst of the gel coat cracks and, you know, the little dings here and there that just happen from stuff getting banged on walls. The worst of the cracking was up here on this passenger front quarter, because I suppose back in the day when it was new, the swamp cooler's water tank was left full when someone was driving with it, which bowed the fiberglass, of course, under the weight and cracked the gel coat over the top of it. So that that road sign there covers the big long vertical cracking patterns that are right there. Of course, the fiberglass itself is fine, but you know, I just kind of want to camouflage the weird looking damage. We'll look at that and go around. There you can see there's some imperfections you can see in the light underneath it, but it kind of goes with the old road sign theme anyway. So, you know, I think it came out pretty well. And my malorn leaves here cover the the smaller little dingies here and there, and some are just decorative. Smaug. In case you haven't noticed, this is a Lord of the Rings theme, Hobbit theme thing, and we've got it set up so that it can be occupied by guests who need a place to be pretty indefinitely here in the driveway. I did replace my the side windows here, both driver and passenger side, with some motion windows. That's who you need to contact for your new windows when your windows are leaky. Of course, I Lexelled them anyway, so they're not perfect looking, but you know, they match the overall 40-year-old camper just fine. And I've got silly stickers. Always adding new silly stickers from places we have gone, and, you know, Middle Earth, generally. I love my eyebrows. If you're debating on the eyebrows above windows and doors, don't do it. Don't, period. Debate. Do it, because it's worth doing. These things are great. Little hooks clip in there, and you can hang whatever you need to, wherever you need to. I have them permanently mounted so that I can attach the tethers for my moonshade up there, and anything else I might need. I can use guy lines on anything I need there, and I can hang lights and whatever else. You can see our air conditioner is in the front compartment, like a lot of people do. Intake's over here, exhaust is over here, obviously screened against critters. And my driveway is not level, so she ends up jacked up here, and then the other tire deflated. This works better to hide my solar plug than anything else. That's where my solar panel hooks up, and it gets pulled out when it's time to set the solar panel up in the sun out there. Boop. Ours is a Jackery, and I can't get that to focus, can I? Oh well. Anyway, it lives in there, and it's out of the weather and easily accessible anytime you wanna charge your battery with the sun. So I'll open it up. So there's our air conditioner. This thing is great. It's a custom size that I got, I think, from Amazon, and it's got little magnets that stick together pretty well. It closes itself when you go through it. And doesn't let bugs in. All right, so inside, I've got the original cushions underneath there with some foam toppers, and then I've got bed garters holding everything together. I think eventually I will invest in some solid foam that's nice and thick that I can just hand cut. You know, buying springed mattresses and stuff gets really expensive, but it would be nice for it to not be piecemeal, all held together with bungees underneath there. If you don't know what I mean by bed garters, I'm talking about these things. They clip onto my mattress protector that covers everything and kind of hold everything together with you know, garter clips from the center there on a ring, and you can adjust everything so that it holds it nice and tight. And then that way, when I need to get into my compartments underneath, everything stays together. I'm not, you know, losing cushions. And this is where I store extra blankets and stuff underneath this front bunk. I did add a brace here because this, you know, how this cushion always slides forward. So this thing keeps it from sliding forward really well. And we've got our bar signs. My curtains are from Asha in Scotland. They make baby wraps. This is a baby wrap that's been made into curtains. And we have all the things that hobbits love in here. The best pipeweed. Mushroom shelves for emergency candles, phones, etc. I've got some loops put up in the inside skin with some epoxy. I run everything through the same sort of grill clips that were originally used for the curtain tethers. These are called nylon grill nuts, and you can pop out a hole just the right size, and they snap in there and work like drywall anchors with the real thin fiberglass skin, which is great because then you can add an eyelet, and that's my curtain tie back. I did go with the tiny shelf when I removed the old bunk. We did have it when I bought it, but it was in real bad condition. And so I didn't want to rebuild the plywood frame. So we just went with tiny shelf as a piece of birch, I believe. Made some Reflectix Velcro covers. Really help with the insulation, both winter and summer, keeping the cold air in and hot air out right now. Of course, the rock guard also helps with a bubble. Anyway, they're not the most beautiful, but they're not shiny. I've just sprayed one side of them gray. Yep, they look pretty good. I can function like blackout curtains too. This is a little dorm microwave from Samsung from the 90s. It's half power, which is nice because it's less likely to pop my fuses down there. Though of course I do turn the air conditioner off if I'm going to cook something in the microwave just for the power center's needs. This little air purifier I've got from Govee. All of their stuff is Bluetooth, so you can just control it on your phone. More mushrooms. These are some 3D prints from Etsy that I hand painted. Baby monitor in case the baby is napping in here. Found a nice knife block on Amazon. My countertop is acacia scrap from a remodel we did at our Airbnbs, so it didn't cost very much at all, and I jigsawed out my cutting board / sink cover, so it can be either or. Boop. It's got a nice juice groove. I had to buy a new router for this project. What a shame, huh? More mushrooms. Hobbits love mushrooms. Hello, there is me. Nice little rechargeable light. I love this thing. You slide it around. Boop. On my little thing. This also has a mount for a tripod at the campsite outside. We've got the map. These are my emergency candles. They don't necessarily live there. This is just a serving tray that I had found on Amazon. It just happened to be the right size to fit over the stove. And I got this silly little guard for grease if you're going to be cooking bacon in here, which I don't recommend, but it protects everything back there whenever you're cooking, so you're not splashing grease all over everything. But you know, again, if I'm roasting weenies, it's outside. Oh, what else have we done here? I run a dehumidifier all the time in here. I'm sure anybody who's had a fiberglass camper or an Airstream or something similar knows why. A cloud forms in here if there's any moisture and rains down the walls. But this thing just sucks it right up and then spits out air out the top and then makes liquid water that I can then just pour down my sink when it's full. So, and this thing can just fold up and live on the stove like that. And I can have my stove and my microwave and my sink at the same time, or I can have a solid surface to work on there. My cabinets are maple. I did order the cabinet doors just from an online cabinet maker. You send them exact specs of what you want. I actually think I found them on Amazon. You know, cool hardware. Stuff that you need up there, you know. More stuff that you need, you know. These are also vital things to have. These are silica gel desiccants that I throw in all the cabinets and hatches and stuff in case there's any moisture in there. And you can recharge them in the microwave. And it pretty much just dissipates the moisture that they suck up and makes them lighter again. And then you throw them back in. Very handy. Super not expensive. This thing is a lifesaver. It's just a towel bar that I've mounted with those same grill nuts up there in the inside skin. The main thing with those grill nuts is you want to make sure you don't put your screw in too far, because then you'll hit the outside skin and crack your gel coat, which is no good. Telling people to find Gollum in here is always entertaining. But I just use these to hang stuff on to dry. You know, anytime there's no chance to hang it outside, you still need to be able to dry your towels and stuff, right? My headliner is original. It's actually in pretty good condition. I took it off to remove the old solar panel and then stuck it back up with 3M90. Didn't have any trouble. I keep a bed full time. I don't deal with the table mess. If I'm on a table, I'm gonna go sit outside. Nearly every campground that we have visited has a picnic table anyway. Down here, I've got drawers that happen to fit just fine. Get an extra blow-up bed mat thing in case somebody needs to sleep on the floor, and a rug in case the floor gets real hot, real cold. Along with our hookup stuff, our power strip that is a surge protector, all that. On the wall here is a yoga mat from Asha. And they have a separate website for their Middle Earth stuff now. And it's the Misty Mountains. Do not skip your fire extinguisher and your smoke alarm. Very important to have in your camper. Do not skip it. Bear spray in case somebody knocks on the door who doesn't need to. And this thing has a test that it runs, makes sure that it works. I've used milliput to make my nice lines here. It's flexible enough that it won't crack as you bounce down the road, but it's the only thing that I can find to fit into those weird places in here. It's a putty epoxy two-part thing that you mix together like Play-Doh, and you can, tell it's very handmade, but it works well to cover those weird tips and corners and things, where there's just not a straight line in the thing. My broom that lives here is from Havencroft in Mountain View, or is it Mountain Home? Anyway, they're in Arkansas. That's where our silverware lives, in case you need a drink. This is our water closet. Got our water filter in there. Got a custom mirror that fits in my cabinet door here. Just random hooks everywhere for stuff. There's just a net that I throw stuff up in. There's our solar fairy lights for outside, whatever you might need occasionally but don't need forever, or every time you stop. Water treatment, obviously, because this water sits in here for a little while sometimes, and the climate is obviously pretty variable. Hatchet for whacking at stuff, saw for whacking at stuff, spare magnet lights and stuff live in there. I've also got a stash of emergency food stuff behind there in case for some reason that's necessary at any time. Yeah, like I said, the bed's always down. Got our first aid kit. We've got our little refrigerator that lives in there. It is in Alpi-Cool, and I can keep anything I need to keep cool in there for a long time on our lithium battery. And it just scoots under there. I've installed a water pump so that I can just turn the tank water on here. Pee water all over my cutting board, but it's actually got a little bit in it, looks like. That's our interior water. That's about the end of the tank, it looks like. So the inside knob is the inside water, and the outside knob is the outside water, which is not currently on. And this is a cute thing I got around it in case it drips. It doesn't get all up on our acacia. The wallpaper is from Etsy. It's just a peel and stick wallpaper. Very nice. I think I have a goal of maybe going around the very perimeter of it with something to give it like a, an edge that's a little more defined rather than just like the cut along the rock. That little shelf here is just put on with an L bracket. These are super handy. They have to go in upside down, and you do have to do a little modification of the housing to get it to go around that old push fuse. But my power runs from here back behind my interior cabinet liners to out this side over here, and that's some more epoxy that's just used to make a little neck, and it goes down here behind my flip up cutting board extension to my power strip that lives down here, and it's got everything I need for this side of the kitchen. Those are little locking hinges you can get on Amazon. I love them so much. There's a support back there on the other side for the cutting board, which is pretty necessary. Down here is where I keep trash and stuff. Oh, cleaners. It's time to empty the trash, looks like. And this is just dry storage at this point. Because I've got the little DC fridge, I use this for just pantry items. My teapot lives down there, stuff like that. Another cutting board lives there. I've got tethers put in with grill nuts all over the place so that when we're going down the road I can tether down the potty. And last but not least, these are great little magnet lights that just stick. This is a Japanese whiskey bar that was portable, that were made out of old sake barrels. After the war, this is where I keep all of the kitchen utensils and stuff over here. Anything that I might need can travel just fine there, and if it decides to bounce around, it can't get away. Also, the thing is nice and round so that when you sit up at night and hit your head on it, you're less upset about that. Little DC fan. I replaced my light up here with something that's directional. You know, I can aim that all over the place. But that's the one that usually stays on in here all the time. And then it's got a little USB plug on that side that powers my fan that really needs to be vacuumed. So it's just on a little clip. I can move that around anywhere I need to. My radio antenna is run up the side of the closet here and then out the top of my whiskey barrel cabinet. These are pretty handy just for drying stuff. You got the One Ring inscription, you know, as one does. I miss our other mushroom shelf over here. These are just here in case you need to stick soap on it or stick your light on it or whatever else you might need a horizontal surface for, because there's not a ton of them to be had in the thing. My floor is EVA foam stuff like they have in kindergarten classrooms. I've had people say that they've had difficulty with condensation underneath them, but I really have not. I gotta say, if there's moisture underneath there, it didn't come from nowhere, you know. There's my hole in the floor underneath the kitchen that I had to patch when I bought the camper. It looks terrible, but it's super solid. That is certainly an art form that I need more practice at. But the thing is functional, and of course no one can see it, so it's not that big of a deal, but it's not perfect. It's got a little bit of a lump here that always bothers me about it. If I got too concerned about it, I'd take a belt sander to it. May do that someday. Anyway, that's our bag end camper. Got all sorts of fun Hobbit-themed things. And, you know, people like to stay here and read like Bilbo Baggins.